Hello, everyone. If you're on this side of the planet, happy Saturday to you. If you're on the other side of the planet, happy Sunday to you. It's Saturday night live stream. If you want to join me, you can just go to Zoom and then click join a meeting. And below this video in the description is a link to the room or the room ID. And then there's a password that's there as well. So it's all set up for you to join. I hope you had a great week, and it looks like Merlin's here, so let's get him in. And while we're waiting for him to get in, well, he's here. Merlin. Oh, his audio's not on yet.
All right.
Merlin, can you hear me?
I hear you. I like your haircut, by the
Thank
way.
you. Thank you very much. How are you today?
All right. Pretty good. Drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Instant coffee, of course.
Nice. A cold brew in a, looks like a Coke bottle.
No, it's a water bottle right here.
Oh, all right, cool. Great.
Yeah.
Well, we missed you last week. Are things going well for you?
Oh yeah. Just things just came up and stuff. But yeah, everything's good. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so we've got 74 people here. Not everybody's here yet, but everybody will be here soon. But anyways, are we going to be doing what we usually do with the three groups that they can choose from?
What do you think? You think we should do that one, or would you like me to do like I did last time, a whole month?
I wanted a monthly one. I want to do whatever makes you happy, whatever you want to do.
Either or, for real.
Well, let's see what let's see what they say in the chat. Do you want him to do it like we usually do it, where you pick from pile 1, 2, or 3? Or do you want one reading for the month? And we'll see what they say. We've got to give them 30 seconds because there's a time delay.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll wait there. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Question for Merlin. Will Croatia win the World Cup of soccer? Someone wants to know that.
Well, there's so many different factors because the slightest change in thought patterns can affect the future. And that's really hard to tell. But I can probably get it accurate with tarot, but I kind of want to do a general for every.
Right now they're coming in. Well, let's see. It was coming in. It looks like more and more are doing for the pile 1, 2, and 3. It looks like the majority want it the usual way.
All right, then we'll do it that way. Then next time I can do the rest of the month with the oracle or something.
All right, so if you're there, you've got to choose your pile 1, 2, or 3. What cards are you using today, Merlin?
The angel deck. I've been meaning to purchase more. I'll do that probably after I get off the podcast.
All right.
And I'll probably go on Amazon and get another deck because I want a new tarot deck. So I'll do that after this.
Is there a deck that is like very expensive, like a high-end deck?
Well, I guess so in a sense. I've seen them go for like $65, $70.
Okay. That's high end.
Yeah, that's real high end.
What's low
for
end?
me it is.
What's low end? Like $20, or what's your average price?
They got some where they knock the price off on Amazon, and you can get one for like $11, I believe.
Wow, that's inexpensive. I was thinking more like, in the hundreds of dollars.
I'm sure it's out there. It depends on the artist that develops it and how much work that they feel like they put into it.
Makes sense, yeah, because they've got to create a lot of cards.
Yeah, and some tarot decks are so detailed and just like a painting.
Right.
All right. So I'm gonna clarify cards now. So
There's someone else is wondering too. I guess the World Cup is a hot topic.
when they supposed to play? I
I
haven't
don't
been
know.
keeping up.
I haven't either.
Okay. Who they playing against?
That's a good question. I don't even know that. Does that mean that is it? I guess that's tomorrow's game, or is that like the final game? I guess it's Croatia will win the next game, so I guess it's not the final game yet then.
Yeah, I used to love sports, but I'm trying to I'm interested in different things. I used to play football. I ran track. Every year I ran track. I went to state to compete with the best of the state. But I just don't like sports anymore. Okay.
Whoa.
Wow.
Talk about one that's trying to get your attention.
Two flipped over, but I'm going with the one on top for that one because that's how I determined that. But yeah, that was interesting. So I'm going to reshuffle now. Okay.
Ooh, there's somebody that says the Mystic Shadows Tarot deck is $1,200.
Jeez.
Now that's what I call high end. I wonder what's so special about that.
Yeah, you can get a used car for that price. Whoa. That's crazy. All right. One more. $1,200. Jesus.
Maybe they have like on the edges, like if you hold them sideways, maybe the edges have gold on them.
Yeah, he plated with like 24 karat gold.
Yeah.
Possible. Okay. Wow. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going two flipped over, but I go with the one on top. Okay, I'm ready. So,
all right, he's ready.
All right. Let's see what we got. First card, pile one. You got the 10 of Earth, okay? Or
10 of
otherwise,
Earth.
10 of Coin. It's a family card. It's of peace, positive family vibes. It's a very good card. You can see the happy type of just peaceful family. It's a family card.
I don't think you've pulled that one before.
I may have, but I don't get it too often. But it's of one of joy, contentment. It says a very happy family life, financial security, finding magic in the little things in life. And the clarifying for pile one is balance. Right. So that's great. That's the easiest one to decipher.
Right.
That means if you pick pile one, you have balance and you have contentment in your life at home or your relationship or financial matters, like I said. So it's balance. You've achieved that balance and things are going smoothly for pile one.
Right.
Okay. Pile two. 7 of cups or 7 of water. So basically you got 7 cups. So you got so many things to pick from. You got to choose something. You can't take 6. You can't take all 7. You can only pick one cup to choose from. One path to pick from on where you want your life to go from here on out. But it's great. You have different choices and outcomes. Sorry, to pick from. Oh wow. 8, another earth card. 8 of coins, 8 of earth. That's storing up of wealth or storing up something of value to you, right? So it's like accumulating financial wealth because it's earth's tied to material world and money. So that's pretty cool. So you have different avenues to gain money, basically, but whichever path you pick, you need to start saving up. Is what I'm getting from that, and that's pretty easy. Okay, pile 3 people. Okay, so you got the 3 of fire. All right, this is a good card, or 3 of wands if you want to call in traditional tarot. You can see the mountain in the distance, so you're looking forward ahead, basically to the future, and things are going good. This is a positive card, so no worries, and you're surrounded by a bunch of growth, which for me, I interpret that like as in different ideas. You're overabundant in imagination and ideas, and you have so many good opportunities in the future, and that's where you're looking towards out. You're looking out towards the future. It says abundance. Things look very good. Have patience at this time. Make long-term plans. Yeah,
Hmm.
and but for that, the clarifier is the chariot in reverse, right? So that means this is great. It's not bad, okay? Just because with the chariot being reversed with this, calm down. You have plenty of time to move forward. To to move forward. You got plenty of time to prepare. There's no need to rush. It's your future's before you. You're going to be fine, type of thing. So cool.
It appears that all of them were positive tonight.
It is. It is. Yeah, and they all go together too so well. Wow.
Perfect.
It's amazing.
Well, have you had any? Are you still working with your spirit box, and have you had any new contact?
I haven't done it recently, no, but I have something scheduled in my group that I created in 2016. I had like 1.8K people, and it's called All Things and Everything Paranormal, and I created that group in 2016 on Facebook. So it's basically anything paranormal, and so I haven't played with that. But what happened to me though was like I'm not gonna lie. I'm a grown man, Marine Corps, but when this happened to me, I ran like a sissy, a scaredy cat. There was like this voice, like, and it's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And that told me that it was real loud. Like I thought somebody was in the kitchen with me at night because I was just looking for something to put in the microwave, eat some food, snack pretty late at night. And no, I don't do drugs. So when I heard that, I freaked out because I know it wasn't spirit. There's no way that a disembodied voice can produce the vocals to be that loud.
Right.
Well, at least with my experience, because they struggle just to manipulate radio waves. That was not a spirit. I don't think it was. I don't think it was a demon. I'm thinking more like man-made type of thing or something. But it's not. It was not a spirit. I know that for a fact. There's no
So
way.
you don't think it's your spirit guide telling you or
No,
warning you?
no, nothing like that. No, because it was. I don't think my spirit guide would be that threatening. Um, but it was like somebody was like right there next to me screaming in my ear. Like it. I mean, it was like, look, when you don't have a body, it's hard to the amount of energy we would need when you're a disembodied spirit to produce enough energy to manipulate the air to have the vocals to have that type of sound tells me that's not a spirit. No way. I don't know what it was, but it was something to note, something um to remember. But it was odd.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me before. So I mean, I ran like like Ace Ventura. I was, or Captain Jack Sparrow. I was like, oh my god,
Wow.
yeah. But I got nothing. I hope everybody's doing good,
Are you
and I
still
hope
in the Discord giving readings there, or you've kind of been busy with that? Too busy to do that?
I want to start back again. I really do. But I just kind of taking a little break. But I'm still there. Um, if it's something like I said, just if usually like if somebody directs messages me on Discord, I'm not going to tell them no.
Right.
but I'm not going to like be like, hey, I'm doing readings. I feel like I need to not do as many as I was doing before because it's taxing. It can be taxing on an individual because there's a lot of energy you have to cleanse from yourself. And I was just doing so many, not just on Discord, but other my own page. I had people coming to me, and it's just too many for energy, you
Right.
know. So
Right.
take a little break.
That makes sense. Well, if you guys want to find more of Merlin, you can either find him on Discord or you can check out his YouTube channel and his Facebook, Merlin and the Fae King's Crown.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, Merlin, thank you so much for coming by and giving us a reading. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Cheers. All right, Messa's here from the Finlands, and we've been kind of following up with him. I think his name's Ben now. And then next we'll get to Brianna Lafferty. And see if Ben.
Yeah.
I'm taking a guess. That is your name, right? Ben?
Yes.
All right, I got it right. So I was seeing if I could remember your name. Hello, Ben. How are you today?
Good. While you were starting up, I just sent Merlin a message about the Facebook page because I was interested, and I was in the middle of typing it, and suddenly you appeared.
And suddenly it was your turn. Do you need to take a break? I can put you back and bring in the next person.
No. I'm done.
What time is it? What time is it over there in the Netherlands?
10. No. It's 2:20 a.m.
2:20. All right. Thank you for staying up late for us.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm always up late.
You're a night owl, as we say.
Yeah, I'm a night owl.
So, what do you have to share with us this week?
Well, what's that? Oh, okay, there's something else. Sorry, I'm just flabbergasted at the moment. Well, I wanted to talk about the pre-birth thing because last time we talked about it, but then we went off the rails, so to speak. Yeah. Well, basically, in my psychosis, I learned I planned a lot of stuff, and basically. I planned my own psychosis. I planned my.
You're saying you planned your psychosis pre-birth?
Yeah, I planned it, everything. And.
Why did you plan? Why did you plan a psychosis? Is that just a learning opportunity?
Well, no, it was to help the entities that were stuck to me. So I'm calling it a psychosis, but it was actually a possession.
Wow, it's just a. Did you watch yesterday's video?
No, not yet.
Oh wow, we're following in the footsteps of yesterday's video. The one that I posted yesterday is a famous psychiatrist that the church calls in to determine whether the person's really possessed or demon attacked before they perform the exorcism. So it's like we're riding on the tails of that. So did you already know you were going to have entities attached to you, or did you even have entities attached to you pre-birth?
Well, it went like this. Basically, before I was born, entities were being herded around by other entities, and they were basically making lives for themselves. So that's a thing you need to do. You need to make your own. You need to write your own reincarnations and lives, and a few of them went missing and went stuck around me. And basically, the entities that were hurting the things around uh, basically went, oh, that person is hold, keeping them, anchoring them to this world. Let's put out even more voices to kind of lure them out. And basically that basically ended up being a psychosis of sorts because the people they use were totally off the hook. They were far from sane themselves. So my body was always being normal, and and my mind was normal, but my oh wait, I'm saying wrong. My mind was normal, but my body wasn't. So they were manually. Uh,
They were physically
they were
attacking you?
basically using my.
Were
No,
they weren't
no, not yet.
they
That was
weren't
later.
physical? Oh, okay.
They were using me to live out their lives in short bursts of like a day or something at first. And basically, my pre-birth was that I don't know if it's karma or if it's something else, but my pre-birth thing was basically I'm gonna have an easy life,
Hmm.
but I need to have a couple of things that make me suffer.
Hmm.
So I chose the easiest one, and that was the psychosis thing.
Hmm.
And I basically chose that, and it only started till like I was 9 or something. So it sounds bad, but it was like I was 9 and it lasted a day. I was 10, it lasted a day, and then a few years in between. And I was basically being fine. And every time they used me, they kind of screwed with my head. So I forgot everything. And everything else that was planned. I was 7, and I was playing around in my house, and I was playing a cat on the couch, and we have the balcony door right to the left, and I was playing on the couch, and my foot went through the window sill of the door. And yeah, I have a huge scar right now. And
Hmm.
I also planned that one. That's a huge one I planned because it changed my life. I can't really run anymore. No, not really well.
Are the
Uh,
have the entities been cleared from your spirit and your body?
yeah, that was the last years. That's why I'm writing this down because basically every time they use me, they jog my memory a bit when they used me, but then they deleted it everything, so I don't remember anything. Right now, they left, but they didn't do anything with my brain. So I'm remembering things, and with the voice of my soulmate, she helps me remember things, and we point things out to each other, and it really helps. I'm also using the pendulum more.
Hmm.
I recently fixed it because it suddenly broke out of nowhere. The glue was dissolved or something.
Right.
So now I'm using it again. Uh, yeah. So basically, that's what I planned. I also planned that I would be single for my whole life. So no women for me, none at all.
Well, that's not any
And
fun.
actually, no, I'm actually fine with it. Because I know where I'm going after this, so it's fine. Also, I have a lot of issues with my brain. I have autism, I have dyslexia, all those things were little things I chose that could have been way worse. So that's my basically my pre-birth planning. was basically centered around making myself suffer a little bit, so that I can grow from it. And I still don't know what this suffering basically concludes to. But I'm learning a lot of people have planned this, and basically mostly from your podcasts. I've been learning that that a lot of people have pre-birth planning, where they basically handle their own suffering, probably for better things than I did, because and I remember at least one lady remembering that she's. I don't think that's your podcast. I think it's another one where she planned her own accident, where she later became a nurse because of the accident. So she's helping people, and she planned that out for herself.
You know,
So
I've been
I don't
asking
think that's yours.
I've been asking that question more frequently lately about if they plan their NDE pre-birth, and I believe
Yeah.
everybody is answering yes. I mean, I even have one that I'm going to be posting tomorrow night. I feel like it's an NDE. She didn't really classify it, but I've classified as an NDE. And she also, when I asked her the question, she also believes she planned it. So maybe more and more people are becoming aware of that they've pre-planned all this. Before I go with you, because I need to run, I've got 2 people waiting on me, but if you can answer quickly, how did you learn of all this information about your pre-planning? Like, how did you come into this knowledge that you pre-planned everything?
Well, basically, I had the whole psychosis to figure these things out. And then the last voice, the voice of my soulmate, basically told me the whole shebang. So she basically told me about pointed out the obvious things in life for me. And yeah, I basically know everything by instinct right now, and I'm happy for it.
Well, that's great. Well, Ben, I've got to run. I've got 2 people waiting on me, but thank you for coming and sharing with us, and I wish you a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, have a nice holiday, by the way. If
Thank you.
Show up.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Cheers. Don't report. Next up is Brianna. And then we got PDP. We can see what he's up to. He's been helping me gather all the information from the previous podcasts, and so we can kind of catalog everything, so I can make up some new compilation videos that will play in sequence, people explaining the same experience over and over again, which would be fascinating. Just like if we can have over and over what we just talked about. Yeah, I pre-planned this NDE. That would be an interesting one. If we have many, many people saying that they pre-planned it. Brianna.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. It's been a few years since I've talked with you.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long time. How have you been?
Good. We both have shorter hair now.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. I keep cutting mine shorter and shorter. My wife says your hair looks beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Or was she talking to you?
She said her hair looks she was wanting me to pass that information along to you.
Okay, thank you.
So what have you been up to?
Well, so I'm not quite sure what I shared with you about my NDE the first time. I was really nervous.
Let me ask you this before you go there. What number was that? Do you remember what number you were? Because you said it was got to be
113, maybe.
113. Do you remember the title of the video?
Her NDE cured her neurological disorder or incurable disorder.
Let me see if I can. OR. No, let me see. Neurological. UR. That doesn't purse up. Let me put incurable. See if that word.
It was quite a few years ago.
UR. No, that word isn't there either. My wife will find it for me. You said it's
Okay.
probably 1 something, right?
Yeah.
113. I don't think that 113 will. I don't know
My
if
mom commented on your Facebook page. She thought it was 113. Yeah, that's all I got.
We put the numbers. I guess we need to put the numbers in the title so they'll pop up faster. Or maybe you can do a search with her name and mine. Anyways, so remind us what we talked about during your NDE, because probably a lot of people weren't even a subscriber back then if it was from the
like I said, it was many years ago.
From the very beginning. So so tell us what happened again.
So I was gonna say, I'm not sure if I divulged exactly how I died, because I was more, just trying to get it out there about my experience. I was a near death and coming to terms. But I was watching your podcast last night with the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And he was talking about demons and exorcisms, and I was killed by demons.
Wow.
So that's how I actually died. I mostly wanted to talk about my journey in the NDE itself, more so than how I died, because I still hadn't come to terms with it. But now I have fully accepted it, and I've even written a book, and I'm really excited to share and let other people know they're not crazy. Demons are freaking real. They're dangerous. Some people I talk to are like, oh, I would love to play with an Ouija board, or I invite them, and I'm like, you should really
do that.
They're way more powerful than we fantasize them or romanticize them in movies and media, and they are not anything to be messed with.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main things that I got from him last night was, as long as you're not seeking them out and you're a good person, you don't have to worry about it. But
I would disagree.
So good person, being good doesn't matter. It's just the searching them out.
I mean, you seek them out. I think it's harder to get rid of them. You have, no protection whatsoever. I feel like inviting them in is definitely on a whole nother level. And you invite the darkest of the dark, the strongest of the strong. I was a born again Christian. I was baptized. I was going to church. Just grew up in a very Christian protected family, and I never touched an Ouija board. But looking back at it, the house we moved into in a small town in Colorado, the previous owner's daughter had played with an Ouija board. And the events that my sister and I and our friends saw were just full of ghosts and entities. And we called this one a party ghost. Well, my sister called him a party ghost. I just called him the top hat man or capped man. So it's this figure that kind of shows up in mirrors, reflections, and we would see him go across our back wall in the basement, and he'd have a top hat, tall, slender, and a cape. Well, writing my book about this and my mom looking into exorcisms back when I was being attacked by demons before they killed me, we found out that he's a very popular, well-known demon or dark entity in, demonologist world and the spiritual world. So we believe I was attached to, not possessed, but oppressed, probably,
right,
from a young age. And I've just had encounters of dark entities, and darkness would just follow me around. And we started, because of my neurological disorder, we had tried everything, medications, Western medicine, Eastern medicine. So we're trying spirit release therapy. And, she warned that, you could get a little ill with this release therapy. And so we started, and I was getting worse and worse and worse. And eventually my mom and I asked her to stop because it was all remote. Well, unbeknownst to us, she kept going. And then the attacks got horrific. They were psychological, they were physical, they were just awful. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. It's all in this other realm and this realm. I didn't know how to fight it. And eventually on the third day, in the middle of the night, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I was so exhausted that, and growing up a Christian, they always say, surrender to God, surrender to your God. So I surrendered to the God that I believed in, and completely. And I never knew what that meant. And I still don't think a lot of, religious people do. But I said, I can't do this. It's in your hands. And then I heard the voice, are you ready? And at this point, I'm like, this is not my voice. This is a strong voice. I don't care what I'm ready for. I just need help. So I said yes. And then I felt 3 hard thumps on my chest, and I was gone. That's where my NDE starts. Mm. And throughout this NDE, which hopefully we can find that episode so I don't have to go through it again, even though I love to. Right. I don't want to take up all the time. Right. It was incredible. But when I came back, I was named a number, and it's 1048. And so I was just like, I kind of remember that. Yeah, I'm like, well, that's weird. And I told my mom, and my sister and my mom studied gematria, numerology, and stuff in the Bible. They looked it up, and it literally says, he delivered me from my strong enemy and from them that hated me, for they are too strong for me. And we just were like, what? That's crazy. It was so fitting and perfect, because I literally felt, when I surrendered, these demons ripped from me, like from my soul, from my body, from my physical world, from my other world. I mean, it was just incredible. So I don't think it matters if you're a good person or not, because I've tried really hard. I've been raised in a very good family who always tries to treat others how we want to be treated, always doing the right thing, or trying to, Christianity grown up. And, so I don't think you have to be a bad person or invite them in for it to happen. And I think that's why I wanted to come on tonight after you suggested it. Mm-hmm. And, kind of relay that information, that it could happen to anybody. I found your podcast. You're right. It's called Her Near-Death Experience Cured Her Rare Disease. And I don't think I had the number there. It looks like it's 160 something. Oh. But maybe oh, okay. Mara put she put the link to the video in the chat, so if people want to check it out. Perfect. And I apologize for anyone who views it. I was extremely nervous. I still had not come to terms with it actually being a near-death experience, or what had happened. I still wasn't, okay telling people what actually killed me. I don't think, just, very taboo. And I was in the corporate world, and like, I don't know. But I heard Eben Alexander's story. For those who don't know, he's a world-renowned neurosurgeon, atheist, and he had a near-death experience, and it was so similar to mine. I just heard this brilliant guy tell my story, basically, and that's when it kind of sank in. So I'm ready now. I'm not sure I was ready back then, but I tried. Okay, for those of you, the link is there, and it's number 164. She put that there as well. Now you mentioned that you wrote about it in a book. What's the title of your book? White Flame. White Flame. How did you come up with that title? Oh, so it does have the beginning of the Ouija board, the ghosts, the demons I saw. Some other cool experiences about meeting some angels. My near-death is in there, after effects of the near-death, and a lot of, a little more about my spirit guides and how everyone has them. But the White Flame has come recently. I was able to access that realm again without dying. Oh. Well, once again, exhaustion. It was just, I'm a huge insomniac, so I was on day 3 or 4 of not sleeping again, and kind of another state of surrender. And I was able to enter that space and realize where I was, and that I had access to all these answers. And so I asked some, big, deep questions. I had just given up a really, really awesome job offer, my dream job, top of the corporate ladder, in marketing, which is my profession. And I turned it down, and I was told I need to start writing my books and telling my stories. And I asked, I'm like, why? And why am I doing this? What is going on? I need some answers. So I had those answers and realized I had basically unlimited question power and answer power. So I started asking some more, and the things they told me have already started coming true. And when I kind of came back to this realm, I realized there was this translucent white flame above my crown chakra. And I thought that was kind of interesting until it happened again the next night. And I had another vision. I was kind of clarified one from the night before. And once again, when I came back to this realm, I noticed a white flame above my crown chakra. So I'm like, all right, 2 times is not just weird. I've got to look into this. So I did some research, and what I kind of found, Moji, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but he's a Jamaican spiritual leader. He puts it as when the ego is stripped and you reach enlightenment. And, with my exhaustion, the ego stripped in the NDE space, or, the NDE, the spirit realm space, your ego stripped from you. And so it was just another kind of symbolism, like the 1048. So I am now working on learning how to get back to that space without being exhausted. But the two nights of my recent clairvoyance and path to medical intuitiveness again is how I got white flame.
Now, I was just discussing with Ben before you that some people plan their NDE pre-birth. Do you think you planned yours?
So I believe we do all have spiritual contracts and kind of plot out our life and big moments that are going to happen in our lives. So I'm very much on board with Ben, which really, really frustrates me, especially, when things just aren't going great. And turns out my disorder was not cured. It was just put into remission for a few years. So, when I struggle with that, it's, like, I'm going to have a big talk with myself, because I do think that we put these big moments into this life. And that's why we're here, is to learn and to, I don't know, we all think we're badasses over there. We think we could handle anything. So then we get here and we have to handle it, and it's just
overwhelming. Well, Bree, where can we find your book?
So you can look up White Flame on Facebook, and you can message me, or that's what it's going to look like if you need to see the profile picture. Or I've got a website, www.brionicllc.com, and you can order there for me or on Amazon. My pen name is 1048 if you're looking for me. But all those avenues are there. It's all available. It's really exciting to talk about. It's exciting to write about. If you pick it up, which I hope you do, I hope you enjoy reading it just as much as I enjoyed writing it. It's a crazy story.
Well, Bree, thanks for coming and telling us about it and sharing with us. It's great to see you again. And I wish you lots of success with your book.
Thanks, Jeff. It was good talking to you again.
Good seeing you. Take care. All right, that was Bree. Haven't seen her in a while. And oh, and I need to get this real quick. And that was from South Bay Technology Gurus. Thank you for that super thanks. Could you go back through your interviews and start adding the number and the title as tags in the videos? You will search easier. We could all reference them. That's a good idea. And I agree with you. I should start doing them. It may take me a little time because we're up to 650 something videos, but I think that's something that definitely needs to be done. And thanks for bringing it to my attention. Which one? Oh, can you post that to the chat, please? Maybe she's responding to someone before us. Oh, maybe she was wanting you to post the link to the video again. If it's the link to the video, she may be new and not be able to scroll up. If you're new, if you've been here, you may be able to scroll up, but not. Maybe we'll post it one more time. Let's get PDP'd in here. So this is pretty interesting. This has been a night of continuation of last night's video. Hey, Pete.
Hey, Jeff. How are you? Hey,
Great.
Mara. Hey, everybody.
So how are things coming along with the categorizing?
Yeah. I just wanted to give a little report. So it's going really well. Are you able to see the master list that I shared with you?
I have, yes, but I'm assuming it's been updated since then, right?
Oh yeah. So we've got about, I think, 17 or 18 episodes completely timestamped now.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah. And it's just, I really want to say thank you. I have 2 really good volunteers working with me right now. So I wanted to say thank you so much, especially to Minnie Rapunzel 1, because she's doing the lion's share of the timestamping. Like out of the 17 or 18 episodes that we've done, she's done a little more than half of them.
Wow.
And then I've done, I don't know, I've done 4 or 5. And then Awake Ken has done maybe 4 or 5 also. Yeah, we're really moving along. It takes like maybe, I don't know, like 90 minutes to 2 hours to do one once you get the hang of it.
Wow. That's a lot. Thank you guys so much for doing that effort. And
it is my pleasure. I mean, I just feel compelled to do it, and I just wanted to come on and explain why, in the hopes of getting, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more volunteers.
Yeah, please do.
So, guys, we've watched so many of these near-death experiences, and the question is often asked, with all this evidence of people's reports being so similar and having such very similar details, why don't more people just accept this as proof that the soul does exist independent of the brain and the body? I just think about like what a better world it would be if no one was afraid of dying anymore and there was less fear, and people would be more probably just better to each other. So with that in mind, when I'm watching the videos, I think, God, there are these very specific details that people repeat, which means that, it's not a hallucination. It's not a dream. When you get hundreds and hundreds of people, I'll keep repeating like very specific things like, oh, I saw angels and they were 10 feet tall. I saw an angel, it was 12 feet tall. I saw this angel, it was 9 feet tall. Or they say things like, I saw this brilliant light and it was like whiter than a million suns, except that it didn't hurt my eyes. How many times have we heard them say that over and over again? So if we go through all of Jeff's videos and we catalog things like this, I have a list of maybe 75 or 80 numbered features that people repeat that we think would make good videos. So then say like every time somebody says, oh, during my life review, not only could I experience my life again, but I could also experience every scene of my life from the other people's point of view that were there too. That's a very, very, very specific observation that multiple people have made. So, maybe that's number 28 or something. So you just write, oh, it's 7 minutes and 17 seconds. That's 28 they talked about. And then the idea is later on, once we have them all cataloged, Jeff can just do a search for the number 28 and he can see like 12 people, all different kinds of people, Black, white, rich, poor, American, European, Asian, all over the world, just saying things like, this exact same thing over and over again. And it would just be such a compelling video, and it would be short. You could do it like a super compelling video that's like 2 or 3 minutes long, that would really make skeptics think like, I don't know, this doesn't sound like random hallucinations to me. So that's why I feel compelled to help. And you don't have to thank me, because I really want to do it. And I feel like it's something that we could do to raise the vibration of the human race. So that's it. I don't want to take up too much time. I just wanted to check in. So if anyone does want to help us, it's pretty easy. You just come on over to the Discord server. Jeff's Discord server is called JeffMara Podcast. And then in there, you'll see a channel where it's like a little chat room channel. It's called the Timestamp Master List channel, and you can chat with us. And there's a little volunteer kit that gives you access to the files and shows you how to do it. But it's pretty simple. And even if you only just want to do one, that's great. And if you want to do more, that's great too. So
I mean, everyone helps, because as far as NDEs goes, there's probably at least 400 of them.
Yeah, around 400.
Around 400.
We've got almost 20 done. So that's 5%.
Yes. Yeah, we're on our way. And I even added I added a new question to him, and I wish I would have. Maybe we can add this one. We are speaking today. I mean, it's a new question I've been asking people: is do you pre-plan these NDEs?
I'm gonna write it down.
Are you pre-planning your NDE before birth? And pretty much everybody I asked is saying yes. And I find that's interesting. And I gave him one the other day, which is kind of a curious one for me. And I've been thinking about more recently is, why does somebody end up in a physical room with a door?
Yeah, I added that one.
Yeah, so that's a fascinating thing for me is, they get to something that's so structural, like a room with a door.
When I was in college, there was like a game, like a little question game that people used to play at parties. And it was supposed to it was like 4 or 5 questions that were supposed to psychoanalyze you. Like, what's your favorite animal? Give me 3 words to describe a waterfall. I don't know if any of you guys have heard this little test. But one of the questions is, you're sitting in a white room. How does that make you feel? And that your answer to that question is supposed to reveal how you feel about death. So when you mention like sitting in a room with like in sort of an empty room with the door, I always think about that little party game that used to be popular.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Pete, thank you so much for spearheading this project. Thank you to Awaken and Minnie Rapunzel also for doing so much work. And if you can, even help us out with one video, we'll greatly appreciate it.
All right.
And again, if you don't know what Discord is, it's kind of like he said, like chat rooms. It's not really Facebooky, but you can do video chat. You can do audio chat. There's rooms in there. I have a few rooms, and then my whole thing is called a server. You can sign up to Discord for free. And then once you do, down below is my personal link to get into the rooms. And then it's also a great place to hang out. Thank you again,
Thanks
Pete.
Again.
Take care, brother.
Good night.
All right, cheers. And I just had someone, and literally when I went there, she left. I need to go back and thank somebody. Here it is, Miss. Is there a name with that? I just see Miss. Miss ... And I wanted to say thank you very much for that. Super thanks. Miss Gardner. Wow. That's amazing. That's very generous of you. Thank you so much. And there's no note with me to read. There's just a happy face. Thank you for that. And so also below the video, if you look below the video, what you will see is, let me see what's there. Below the video in the description, if you're thinking about getting in and joining us, there is the room ID and passcode. So what you do is you go to zoom.com, you click join a meeting, and then it'll ask you for the room ID, and it's right there. And then you key that in, and then it'll ask you for the passcode, and that's there, and it's cap sensitive. So you type those in, and then you'll pop up in the waiting room, and then we can get you in. And from Alma, that's also a ... And from Ala Mulahasomovich, thank you for that. Thank you for that super thanks. I really appreciate that. And it says boss. And I guess she's saying I'm a boss. It's going like that. So thanks again, Alma. So that's how you get in if you want to join us. There's 247. I'm not going to be able to speak. Now, this is from Herman. Herman, thank you so much. And I don't know what that's interesting. Herman's live. Herman Cookie, thank you very much. And that's 15,000 something. That's interesting. I wonder what your unit of money is, but no matter what it is, it's greatly appreciated. And thank you so much, Herman. And we've got Shira here. So I was going to say there should be at least 2.5 of you waiting to get in. That's 1% of 250 people. Shira. Hi, Shira.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Oh gosh. So we had talked last week. You wanted me to come on and tell about
Right. We were
the
talking
7
about the
levels.
underworlds last week, and we never made it to the 7 levels of heaven.
So for last time was like the world is like an onion,
Mm-hmm.
and you can peel off, and there's 7 worlds within us. So that's what we were talking about then. And I had wondered why I hadn't studied about the 7 levels of hell, if you will. By the way, Mazel Tov, it's always all
Oh,
about the
nice.
snowmen right
Oh,
now.
that's cute. So, but
It's
we spoke last week about the 7 layers below the Earth's surface.
right.
And I was just thinking it was vibrationally 7 layers, or 7 layers going energetically down towards, Hades. But now that there are 7 layers above the Earth, or is that also, you mean, out into space? Because that's the only direction we can go.
There's 7 levels of heaven, and there's 7 levels of hell. You go into the 7th level, you don't get out. But
Stuck.
the other, pretty much so. But at the end of times, wow, you really got it cut short on the side.
Yeah,
Wow, that's cool.
I keep cutting. Maybe if I'm not careful, I'm gonna come back one of these days and I'm not gonna have any hair at all. I keep going shorter and shorter.
I love it. I love it. You wear it all. Yeah, that's great. So I found out why I didn't know about the 7 levels of hell, and the rabbis have been told not to talk about it. But they have been just told that there are certain things that they can talk about because it's scary and it will rattle somebody. It will almost paralyze you. And so, if anybody in those levels um, call out to God and repent, or during your life, you do what Jews call is teshuva. You tell God, hey, I stole money out of my mom's purse in high school. And 2, I'm really, really sorry. And 3, I will never do that again. And if you truly mean those 3 things, you're forgiven. Now, it still leaves a little spot on your soul, like uh, a little spot. And in any sins that you do leaves stains on your soul, unless you do teshuva, then it's just like a little spot. So your soul has to go through a cleaning. God is 100% pure and good. And so in order to go back up and rejoin him, you have to get cleaned up. So you go through everybody goes through cleaning time. Even the most righteous go through a cleaning time up to 12 months. So the Jews read Psalms for the people that have died up to 11 months, because we hope that you don't have to go for the whole 12 months. So there's something that I wanted to share with y'all that's fun. But in the meantime, can you look up, because I can't look it up on my phone, what are the 7 laws of Noah?
Yeah, I can't. Maybe someone in the chat can do that. But I wanted to ask you this.
Sure.
Yesterday with Dr. Gallagher, I asked him about, I think I asked him, well, have you ever been contacted by the Vatican? And he said, well, I can't give out I don't want to give out any names. And if you haven't seen it, Dr. Gallagher is the foremost psychiatrist that the church calls out to verify if this person's has a psychosis or they really demon possessed. But he did mention that even a rabbi or rabbis have called him too. So are they doing exorcisms in the Jewish faith?
Oh, yes.
I didn't know that.
And have always done that. Yes. There are demons that will attack you. When you say, I don't believe in God, and you don't have any relationship with your creator, you have left yourself wide open for anything to happen. It's all a crapshoot from there, because you don't have any protection. Because you're just saying, I don't believe, and that's a huge thing.
Well, there's got to be like millions of atheists out there. I would assume they're not all being possessed.
Yeah, well, it is when you've got these blockage of God, and the demons love that, when you're not interested in learning and growing, and it's you open yourself wide open. But the 7 laws of Noah, there's some things like you're to build a court. One thing that's interesting is a long time ago, they used to take like a lamb and they would cut off one leg, sew it up, and then they would have their leg of lamb while the lamb was still alive, running around on 3 legs. Because, they kept food in the ground, yes, but they didn't have like a freezer. So you can't do that. You can't harm animals. And under that umbrella, you can't do that. The very first one, and you can look this up, the 7 laws of Noah, and the Jews don't believe that just the Jews are going to heaven. All righteous people, all people who follow the 7 laws of Noah, they have a share in the world to come. And if you do teshuvah, you do repentance, you return to God, then you knock out all these blemishes. But the first one is that you're not allowed to worship idols. And one of the problems Jews has with some Christian faiths, not all of them, but when you get a new car, you go, thank you, Jesus, for giving me this car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't Jesus. Jesus isn't in the car business. He was a very enlightened person. But it was God that gave you that.
I want to stop you for 1 second because someone posted in the chat the 7 laws of Noah. So if you want to know what Emily did that. So if you want to, thank you, Emily. If you want to see what she's talking about, it's right there.
So maybe if you could you read them off, because I've just named 3. There's 4 more.
There's prohibit against worshiping idols, cursing God, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, and eating flesh torn from a living animal.
Right. And also something interesting that my rabbi, Zitron, that is my New York rabbi, that I asked, is if a woman has a relationship with a married man, is that considered adultery?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, not for the woman, but it is for the man.
Mm.
And so if the woman is conceives, then you know who the mother is. But if she's out with Isaac and Moses and Ezra, we don't know who the father is. That's one thing that's a problem. but it only applies to the men. The men can have as many wives as they want.
That's in Judaism?
It is. And like Abraham, he was married to Sarah, and then he married the handmaid who gave him Abraham, Isaac and his brother Esau. But Abraham had the first child with his handmaid.
So are you
And
saying
the
that Jews can
second child was Isaac.
So you're saying that they can practice polygamy?
It's not done anymore because we found out that there's so many problems. I mean, as you know, being a married man,
Right.
it's enough to handle one wife. Let me throw on 4 or 5 on you. You know, I mean, the Mormons do it. We don't know how, but you know, so but in theory, over law, he can have as many wives, but by him being married and then having a relation with someone who he's not married to, that's adultery.
Right.
But she's not, as a single woman, committing adultery if she has relations with a married man. So on Thursday night is just when I got the information from my New York rabbi about where can I find the 7 levels of hell, and it's in the Sefer Rashit Kokama Tractate Genahim. I butcher any foreign language. I went to private Catholic school. The nun hated me and had every right to hate me because I was a rebellious one. And so I was a college prep Catholic school, and you had to take 2 years of foreign language. And I took 1 year, and she pulled me into her office and she said, "You are horrible at foreign language. You don't have to take a second year. Pick something else." So I know I got to go unless you have some more questions, but I wanted to show y'all something.
All right. Well, show us real quick. What were you going to show us?
So I came up with this brilliant DIY. And so I'm putting 3 cotton balls together, and I'm rolling them in my hands for like 5 times to make them smooth, and then putting a hat, and then this is some snow. So some I'll do to as ornaments. Otherwise, I'll just put the snowman onto packages. So, and it's like 8 cents with glue and cotton balls from the dollar store.
That's a great idea.
So I've done 56 of them.
You're giving out a lot of packages this year.
I'm going for broke, baby. I've blown up all my credit cards, and
You're just gonna max them out.
Snowman. So many people have helped me being disabled, like 15 people at the grocery store. They run out to, "How can I help you? Let me get the riding cart. You know, what do you need? Can I reach something for you?" I mean, these people around town that know me and help me out. Of course, I talk to everybody and, "Hey, how you doing?" They all know I'm there when I come in. And so they've helped me a lot. So that, and my best friends and 2 of my family members that have really helped me out. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well,
so anyway, that's just a little idea for y'all to do little snowmans for your packages. I'm not going to do the eyes, but I'll do 3 dots. But anyway, if y'all want to do something fun while you're watching the JeffMara podcast, you can roll your cotton balls.
There you go.
And then put them together.
Well,
But I will have more information on the 7 levels of hell as they come out with the information. But just know, if you get in there, that either you can do teshuva and you'll spend up to 12 months there getting your soul dry cleaned, and then you go up, and God, everybody has a spark. Even Hitler had a spark of God in him. So he wants that spark to return to him. So, and then I don't know, he may have dropped down to the bottom level, but it's all purpose. And so, yeah, you can get out, but you don't want to spend more than 12 months. Oh, one more thing. If 1,000 years, and I'll let you go, I promise. If 1,000 years in in heaven is considered 1 day on earth, right? A day on earth is 1,000 years in heaven, as you've heard. If you do the math, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. So 1 year is 1 minute and 44 seconds. So these people that have the NDEs and they're like, how long were you there? And they go, it felt like years, but I was only dead 2 minutes or 4 minutes. Well, every 1 minute and 44 seconds is a year in heaven. So that's why people are feeling, and they're rightfully so, that they were up there for years, even though they were dead for 3 minutes.
That's
So
interesting.
3 minutes will be like 2 years in heaven. So it's a interesting calculation. All right, I'll let you go. Love
All right,
you.
sure. Thanks for coming and sharing with us. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too. I'll be doing snowmen.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So, where was I? I was telling you about what's in below the description. And before I go there, I was going to say something. I wanted to say one thing is, and I forgot it. Darn it. I had it, and then I forgot it, and then I remembered, and then I forgot it again. I'll remember it eventually. But so in the description below, there is a way to get into the live stream if you want to join us. It's not hard at all. It's funny. I looked over at the thing, and there I see John Scott. Isn't that funny how my eyes went right into John Scott? 144,000 sacred number in Revelation. Pretty wild. Anyways, so that is there. My Facebook page is there if you want to follow me on Facebook. The official JeffMara podcast Facebook page is there. And sometimes I read news stories, and I have a bunch of news stories there, some new ones. So that's there if you want to check them out. If we may get to some tonight, and we may not. Maybe we'll get John Scott in to talk to us. We'll see. There is my personal Facebook profile if you want to friend me on Facebook. That's there. And my name is, if you don't know already, probably most of you know, but my last name is Reynolds. Mara is my dear wife, so that's who that is. But every now and then I will see someone say, I'll see in the comments, who's Mara? I thought Jeff's last name is Mara. And we do have a channel that's called the NDE Clips, and that's just where I take NDEs. I take the video and I just chop out the NDE only and post it over there. So that is just for those of you who like to watch NDEs and you don't have time for anything else. It's just like you have just a little time to invest. So that's there. We have the JeffMara music channel. I've found old music videos that I've done, and I put those in there. And eventually, I'm gonna start making meditation music and kind of music for that. I'm just kind of in a temporary living situation. So finally, when I move, and then I can kind of get settled, sorted out, and I might even do like add a second live stream. So. Like maybe Sunday nights, I will just only do like live. I'll just play live meditation music or whatever. Might be kind of fun. And and then the last thing is our merch store. So we finally got a merch store. As you see me, I'm drinking out of today's coffee mug. You can see that for the JeffMara podcast, although it's backwards here. And you may have seen this one, and a lot of you people are ordering mugs. That's our hottest item. And I'm going to have a new one coming out soon. Penny made us some nice artwork, and I'm going to be putting that one on one soon. So if you're there, thank you, Penny. And we just added some mouse pads. I think someone was asking last week for mouse pads, so we made a couple mouse pads and put those up there. So that is what's going on underneath the description. Am I coming to the Ozarks? I want to go to the Ozarks. I keep looking up. I keep looking in the Ozarks, and I think the Ozarks is calling me. I've had so many guests, either Northwest Arkansas or Southern Missouri. And if you guys don't know, Dolores Cannon was even from the Ozarks, and they have a big UFO. I don't know about a big, but they have a UFO conference in the Ozarks every year, or they have been. So there's something about that area, I think, that you know, the energy, and supposedly the area's on a lot of crystals. And even Typo, she's popped in. I don't know if she was looking into Arkansas as well, but I think she was looking, I don't know if she was looking at the Ozarks or just kind of a little bit south of that. What was I going to say next? Oh, so, you know, sometimes, I may have mentioned it before, but I have, you know, booking guests day in and day out's not easy. And if anybody, I should have asked, you know, you can even ask John Scott. He could probably say that this is true. With a lot of guests, I just give them dates and pick a date. And sometimes 2 or 3 will come in a row, and that will be, you know, of a certain subject. And sometimes I'll have even certain people that are in a row, then they can't make it for some reason. So if anybody of you are, you know, for the last 3 videos in a row, they were non-NDEs, but I just want you to know that I'm still doing NDEs. It just turned out that 3 of them in a row were not NDE videos. And tomorrow's is basically an NDE in my opinion. And so let's see what we got for the week coming up. Where are we? Oh, I was saying, John, I was telling people about if Bree was here earlier, and I should have asked her, but if you would ask most of my guests, I just throw out dates and say, pick one. So, and I was saying if you could verify that. So, I already have one recorded. We started editing it, and it's going to be ready for tomorrow night. And let's see what's coming up. Tomorrow I have to record an NDE, and wow, it looks like I have to record one early in the morning. And Monday I have to record an NDE, and Tuesday, this is a guy, a UFO guy, and I think he's pretty famous. They invite him, I think, to these kind of UFO conferences. His name's Brett Aaron Luder, if I'm pronouncing that right. And then I'm not sure what this one is. And then another NDE. And then on Saturday, Robert Lindsay Milne, which is a famous, I don't know if you would say astrologer, tarot reader. And he's going to be giving me his not prophecies, but he's going to be giving me what his is for his predictions. That's the word I'm looking for. His predictions for 2023. So we'll be talking to him about that. And so that's what's coming up this week as far as the schedule here. And the week after that, I have Michael Carter returning. I don't know if you remember him. He's been a guest on Ancient Aliens, and he's a UFO guy. And I think we're going to be talking about Christmas-related stories or Christmas-related things in the Bible. So I think hopefully that will be real interesting. Well, do I have a website? Ozark saying, do I have a website? Store. Do you have a website for your store? I guess Ozark has his own store. Is that what's going on? Let's see, what else do we want to get to before we move forward? That's the week coming up in advance. And while we are waiting on the next guest, I can tell you about some of those stories in the news. It is still valid, Matiak. Thank you for asking, and thank you again for that, for what you've sent us. Thank you. Yeah, Matiak sent us a very nice cheese grater and a very nice little magnet that I put on our refrigerator. He's from, I guess, Finland? perhaps, or the Netherlands. We forgot. Please forgive us. All right, so one of the stories on there is, if you look on the JeffMara podcast page on Facebook, is a picture that someone took. Well, actually, the Mars rover, I believe, is the one that took the pictures, and somebody scanned the photos. And it looks like a head of a statue has been knocked over, laying sideways. And I could go either way on that. I mean, if it is a head of a statue, it may be aged. Or, a lot of times our brain is very capable of just, looking at something and filling in the blanks. And it could be just a rock that we're filling in the blanks and creating a statue out of that. But I'll let you guys take a look and see what you think. And we got Leslie Kings. I wonder if he's going to be playing. Leslie's in Hong Kong, and we've been talking to Leslie about playing music for us. And we'll see if he's finally got it set up. Leslie. I wonder if Leslie's is a painter as well. He's there, but he doesn't have his headphones on. I don't even think he can hear me. Can you hear me? Now can you hear me? Can you, Leslie?
Yeah.
Now we got you.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Leslie. Are you a painter as well?
Oh.
I see that painting behind you. I wonder if you created that piece of art.
Not exact, but when I'm playing music, often people like to paint a light, like a rainbow with different colors. This is what you see is from 2008. This time I began to playing basically spontaneously, and somebody painted this. I don't know many names, but I call in the beginning.
They painted it and gave it to you?
Basically, yes.
Awesome.
And honestly, if your audition like to under when I play painting, or express, say, what is in the heart, and you're drawing something or getting words. So many things happening, and I need to share honestly, today was the first time for another group invited me, but they pushed me. So not like you, you just said, okay, waiting. But 2 days ago, my piano doesn't work. So, and they already announced for I coming and playing, and there's a lot of pastors, ministers from US also. And I said, even doesn't work the system. But today, means one microphone, it's over me, the cable can see a little bit, maybe I put here for cannot see. And it's not the best, but I played and everything was fine. So I said to myself, if I am able to play already, why am I not playing in Jeff's meeting?
Yes.
So if you can hear me and you can hear the piano, no, I cannot escape.
I can hear you just fine. Now, are you going to play us something that you composed?
No, I play right now what I'm downloading.
So you just downloaded a song right now? Or just before you came on?
Yes. So cool. I have no clue what I'm playing.
All right.
Is some saying improvisation, some saying spontaneous music, but definitely it's created by basically it's downloading. So this is in my heart, it's coming and play, very simple. So not the music are important, but important him. And let us see for his music what can create to others' heart, what can create in mine, the spirit. Some people can be healed, or some people can get some light about some revelation if you can show. So someone express themselves. So many things can happening. And I did this before, but never in online. So, when we begin our connection, I said, oh, to online playing. Wow, what is this? So, Jeff, I am here, cannot escape.
We're ready.
And
we've been waiting for you to do this for months.
And another group pushed me. So
good for them.
Yeah. Why interesting for this is showed to me for I cannot now share for I cannot play. So I immediately felt, no, I coming inside your podcast, and even it's morning and a little bit like this, are not important. Not I am the important, not the music important. He is important. And if few music dudes can give something also very good, but this music not composed by me. It's I just playing from my heart.
Great. All right, let's hear it.
So give me 5 minutes
Sure.
or something.
All right, let's go.
Thank you.
Hey, bravo. That was amazing. That was fantastic. It was beautiful. And you, yeah, I mean, you know, it was a, not, you know, it was a great download and you performed it awesomely.
Oh,
You just completely played that from memory?
no memory is played by spirit.
Wow, that's
No anything
amazing.
with the mind. Just go right, go left, go up, change sound. So it's like guided. From
Yeah.
the, I call a Holy Spirit who is guided to make joy, cleaning the atmosphere, people be lifted up.
Mm-hmm.
So be a wonderful evening in every heart. This is, you know, the joy. If somebody wants joy, just call to me. I always have. Why? For I'm praying, filling up with Him, and He won't just be rejoice.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You know, many people are asking where can they find your music. You've got a new, you know, you've got a new audience here.
Ah, thank you. I think so. They're just the same, you know, for this type of music is no. So that means it's will developing step by step. Hopefully I can put to YouTube, you know, this part and my part, if you give permission. So people step by step, if I can enjoy with your podcast time to time, so you can have step by step more and more.
Mm-hmm.
But I have already, for I worked with against the COVID, you remember my testimony, and a lot of piano, many hundreds spontaneous piano play. It's sometimes really very crushy. You know, if somebody want to know a little Bible principle, Revelation book, 14, chapter 14, verse 2. At Revelation book, chapter 14, verse 2, they can find this type of music. So just the Bible also inside. But for answer for your question, Leslie Kings, Leslie Kings, LESLIEKINGS, YouTube.
There you go.
And this old man, you know, is not changed. And the very, very chaotic YouTube channel, but we can trade that. Go there. And if somebody interested in scripture songs, have hundreds scripture songs,
Wow.
exact the Bible. So,
well, Leslie, it's been worth the wait, and I hope you come back and play some more music. I hope you get more downloads. Excuse me. I hope you get more downloads that you can come share with us.
Next week,
all right.
I like to visit. From now, I coming and visit. You even cannot take off me. Just you see my name, just delete. But I like to come. For it's something start from him. It's have a period of time. And yesterday the message was for changing, transformation. Oh wow! I received a lot of messages immediately. Yeah, there's a tongue.
Yeah, we even John Scott even put in the chat for us Revelation 14:2, and I have heard a sound from heaven like the roar of rushing waters and like a loud peal of thunder. The sound I heard was like that of harpists playing their harps.
And you know, the piano, the grand piano, what is like before was a harpcorn instrument, and after they put flat and making the, you know, finally the beautiful grand piano. It's like a harp is playing, you know. So it's a beautiful thing. You know, Bible had everything, and I really appreciate it for to serve in this way. And yeah, see you next week. Also, you know, you cannot take off me. I'm coming sometimes.
Great. All right, Leslie. Well, thanks for coming and performing for us, and we'll see you next week.
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. All right. And Tanya, I want to say thank you so much for that. I messed that up. Thank you so much for that super thanks. And she says, thank you for the lovely and heavenly music. Thank you, Jeff and Mara, for allowing guests to hear him on your show. Wow. I felt like she was getting healed. So thank you very much. That was very generous of you, Tanya. We really appreciate that. Thank you. And next we have Dee. Dee is joining us. And we'll see what Dee is up to. And while we're waiting for Dee, we had talked last week that Christmas Eve this year falls on a Saturday, as well as New Year's Eve. So what we've decided to do, I believe, at least we talked about it last week, was doing the live stream on Friday night instead of Saturday night. So that way, everybody will be with their family. And I think everybody seemed to be on board with that. Dee, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, we can hear you. We just can't see you yet.
Okay. All right, let me try this again.
There you are. Hi,
All
Dee.
right. Oh, hi.
Now, have you been here before?
No, I haven't been on. I've watched your videos time and again.
Thank you.
So,
well,
yeah.
Welcome. And where are you from?
I'm in Northern California.
Oh,
So
like far north, like towards Oregon, or like San Francisco north?
I'm Central California or Northern California. It's about 45 minutes away from the Bay Area or San Francisco.
That like San Jose area?
No, it's Central Valley. It's more like Modesto and I don't know, it's small towns.
All right, cool.
Small towns. Yeah,
Great.
it's midway between Sacramento and down south Fresno. So they call it Central Valley, but I'm in Northern California.
Well, great. Thank you for joining us this evening. And what do you have to share?
It's my pleasure. Well, I've been watching your NDEs for a while, and I've had a lot of various spiritual experiences, and this one in particular time, I remembered it. I reflected on it time and time again, but when your podcast started, I started recalling this experience that I had, and I remembered that I was very young, and it was a drowning experience. Okay, and I've never really talked about it, but but listening to your podcast, I said, "Oh my gosh, there was one podcast where someone was talking about, when they had an NDE and they drowned." And I said, "Well, you know what? I remember when that happened to me." And so I'm going to go ahead and share it because it's kind of it's one of the things that I think I would say activated a lot of different abilities, or I recall these different abilities. It's one of the moments that I understood that I was more than what I thought, and I was really, I think I might have been about I would say 9 at the most, 8, 9 years old. And I'm originally from Southern California, so this happened back in Southern California, and a lot of families used to get together and go to this place called Tahunga. I don't know if anybody out there, knows Southern California, but this place called Tahunga, the Tahunga Canyons. There's rivers, and there's creeks, and it's really a tributary. And in any case, we went over there as a family. A lot of families did, and there used to be the swimming holes. The water would collect into swimming holes, and families would kind of sit along the coast. It was really not really cold. It was sandy and rocky, basically. But so we're out. Most people had picnics. So we're out there having our picnic. Our family went out and decided we're going to go to the swimming holes. It must have been in the summer sometime. It was pretty hot. And So we're all swimming and whatnot, and we've done this many times over my short 8 years during that time. So it was nothing new for us to jump in and swim, and there were some rocks, you'd hang on to the rocks or you jump off the rocks, whatever. So this one time we're all out there, and all of a sudden I felt I was in pretty deep. It wasn't like normal. You could just kind of walk in and then you didn't feel it anymore. And you knew, well, I could dog paddle. I was a pretty good swimmer during that time. But for some reason, I just I thought I went in too deep, and I started to panic. And uh, normally, you could grab onto like the big rocks along the other side of this small river, and I couldn't grab onto it. And then I started to panic, and basically I started going down, and I'd pop up, I bobble up, and I could, I just, it seemed like in slow motion. I've listened to a lot of your podcasts, and a lot of people say, well, yeah, this has happened in slow motion, but that's kind of a prelude to everything else that happened throughout my life. Anything spiritual, things just slow down, and then it starts happening in slow motion. So in slow motion, I'm doing this drowning thing, but I could hear myself, screaming, "Help! Get me! I'm gonna drown. I can't swim." And I could see my siblings on the side, and I could see cousins, and they're just I saw my mother. My mother wasn't a swimmer. I didn't know this at the time, but I found out later on. Well, I found out soon after this, of course. And I could see her right along the bank, and she wouldn't come in, and I'm like, I'm in dire need here. And then I started to look up and past these big rocks that line the banks, and went up to where the road was. And I could see my young aunt sitting with another friend. I don't know if this is a friend, or I realized this wasn't a friend, and I don't know how I was able to really ascertain that this was not her friend. This was actually somebody that she met, because it wasn't a family member, and it wasn't anybody that I knew that we had come all driven in the car with. You know what I mean? But I had a knowing that this was not a family member, this was not a friend, this is someone she just met. And so she was sitting way up above where the road was, on this, like, this bridge. And the bridge was more like I would say it was kind of like railroad ties put together, and then you had this small bridge you crossed over and you went to the other side, and then you'd walk down, you know, to where your picnic spot was, and these pools where you could go swimming in. And so I saw her up there, and it was clear to me that she was too far to run back down across the bridge and to where I was. But I could hear her screaming, get her, save her, she's drowning." It was like an echo, but then it became so clear, and it was like I was able to focus in on where she was. I saw her face. I saw this new friend that she met, and and I could see just everything, like who was where, what they were doing, what they were thinking. And then I thought, okay, I know where that aunt is. I know where my mother is. I know where this sibling is. I know where that sibling is. I know where that cousin is. Where's my dad? And when I said that, uh, I remember, I remember thinking, because I'm already going down. I'm already down. I know I'm down, but I'm saying these things, and I'm hearing these things, and I'm knowing these things. And I could see in slow motion. I don't know how, because I'm already submerged. I realize that I'm submerged because I've gone over this a lot of times throughout my life. Like, what happened? I mean, all of a sudden, I just heard, "All right, stop. That's enough." I said, "That's enough." Yeah, that is. And I'm looking around, and I realize in me, I hear, yeah, see, why are you making such a big deal out of this? I mean, you're screaming and yelling and, and look around. Oh, wow. Yeah, this isn't so bad. Wow, I really can hold my breath underwater. I'm so good at I'm such a good swimmer. Yeah, what was I screaming about? That's right. And then I asked, I said, well, why why couldn't I save myself? Now I'm not making sense out of it. Like throughout the years, I say, why would I ask? Why couldn't I save myself if I'm already down there and I knew I was okay? I was told to look around. I would look around you. So I looked around and I could see clearly. And in what's now murky water, I know it's murky because the rock. I said, and then as soon as I said, well, then, you know, when I wanted to get up and breathe. I mean, I realize I'm breathing underwater now. Like, I'm 8, 9 years old thinking I'm breathing underwater and I'm under for quite a long amount, time. And and then I just knew inside of me, like I knew the answer to why I couldn't really save myself, and that was because to look at the rock. Because I said, "Well, I was on that big rock." I'm normal. I mean, normally you could just grab onto these rocks and and then kind of use it as a bank and go, get to the shallow end or whatever. And I realized when I heard the answer to, well, look at the rock. I looked at where the rock was, and I could see uh, that the rock had this shape. It was this big boulder basically. But underneath in the water, it followed through in the water, and in the water, it was full of moss. You see, that's why you couldn't grab onto that rock because it was full of moss. And I said, oh, that makes sense. And then I saw fish. I saw big, it's a trout. I know what they are now. It was a trout swimming by. And oh, wow, I've never seen fish swim this deep before. And I'm looking around. And then out of my head, right, like here, not here, because I know I'm looking at these fishes now, right? I said, oh, that's where they are. I know, like my father would bring, his fishing poles and try and drop a line in. I go, oh, that's where they are. They were under this big rock, and this is where they swim. And and I could see through my head, the top of my head, that my father was running down the cliff side, and he jumped in, and 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 he gets me, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with him? I'm fine. I can hold my breath underwater for a really long time. And then next thing you know, he next thing I know is he's pulling me up, and from that moment to the moment that we hit the air, I know I was quiet, but then I started gurgling water. Water just started coming out, and then the tears. And I thought, why am I crying? I'm crying. I mean, I shouldn't be crying. I heard this voice. You shouldn't be crying. You're right. I shouldn't be crying because, you know, I was in a good place. And the tears that I was crying was because I wanted to be there. I was in the I s- now I'm being a spoiled brat because I want to go back in the water where I was. But then as time went on, I realized, not like after watching some of your podcasts, that uh that was my near death experience.
I would agree. It
That
sounds like
yeah,
it sounds like to me you were communicating with your higher self.
I was communicating with my higher self, but I also knew that there was a great presence with me. I know now. I've known for a long time, but I didn't know it until I had another experience, fast forward some years later, where that voice and the dialogue and that presence, that presence, or that energy, was clear to me that it was God's source. So, yes and no. It was my higher self. It was another part of me that said, "Okay, that's enough. What, why are you making such a big deal of this?"
Do you think that it's possible that either the God source was either with you in the water, or the God source was communicating with your higher self?
Uh, I think it's all of that. I think that God's source is with us all the time, and I think that it since she, that I don't believe it. I think because of the presence, I refer as a he, as a source, as a he, because it's huge.
Okay.
And so your mind is like, okay, mom is small, dad is big. And so, so you kind of put a gender to it. But I know that it was a God, if you want to call it. I mean, it was God. It was the I am, he is, all of that. And then later on, those words, I had other experiences where I would, talk to my parents, and they both had agreed that they would be agnostic, because one was more than the Native American and the influence, the Catholicism influence, and then the other was more of the Protestant Christian influence. And so, since they couldn't agree on which way, they were going to go to raise us, and they said, we're going to be agnostic. We're not going to. They didn't encourage me or my siblings one way or the other, because it was, I think back in the 70s, I think they had the wherewithal to, and or they'd gone through this whole civil rights movements, and the freedom of religion and all of this stuff. So they figured that they wouldn't impose anything on their kids in that way. And so I had no I had I had no resources, and or in any type of understanding of what a god was, or if it was a he or she, because we weren't raised in that way. uh so yes, and I think it's all of those things. Source was with me and is always with us. We're, and from what I feel and what I know now, but that's me looking in hindsight.
Did you get any new abilities afterwards that you didn't have before?
uh that, I know, I I say they became very apparent. It became very apparent that I had to uh, start accepting some of these things, these innate abilities that I already had. I recognized, from, I think, that moment forward, that every supernatural or spiritual thing that had happened was because it was a natural part of who I was. And so it just took me time to accept it, and to really, really process it, or process all those gifts or abilities, and really step into that part of who we all are. So yes, I I have abilities, but it took a little bit for me to say, open up to them, and really allow, uh, I would say, spirit, God, to work with me in those various abilities. I mean, and for a long time I didn't want them. I was like, if no, I don't want to see you. I'm asleep, and
Yeah.
I would have people visiting me, loved ones who had passed on, transitioned on, and I know spirit on this other side they know who is open to these things, and or who can hear them, who can't hear. If they know when the light's on, like Motel 6, they leave a light on and they can tell. So um but it just took me a little bit of time to really step into those abilities, and really start using them, not only to help myself but to help others. And obviously there were some times when I got into some pretty precarious circumstances or situations, and it, that voice and this light, I sometimes I could see the light, uh would help me through it, outside of myself. I know
Right.
these, I would hear voices outside of myself. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty amazing experience that you had. And do you feel like it's just from watching my podcast that's how it helped you finally put it all together? Or did you think, throughout your life that you already had an NDE? It sounds like you kind of put it together after watching.
I did. I put it together after watching. Uh it- and I think that, I mean, it just explained this whole fascination that I had with buying scuba gear, and never finding quite the right snorkel because it didn't keep me under long enough. So you know, uh, I would I buy these masks where you you put them on, and the snorkel actually, you know, um, stays out of the water, and it stays out at least 12 inches. And so you're like 12 inches below. And really, I, for the longest time throughout my youth and in my young adulthood, I had a fascination with holding my breath for as long as I could underwater, whether it be in a pool or on lakes, simply because I had had this experience. Well, I had held my breath for so long. I wanted to go back there. It was kind of like it was that one thread of this part of this experience that I kept coming visiting. And so while I was watching your podcast, I started to put it together. Really, that, I mean, I knew the experience, but it always was a huge question in my mind because I had all these abilities, and I'd spoken to angels and people and heard voices outside of myself, and I kept trying to reflect, when did this exactly start? And I know that was one of the points, one of the, I call it an activation point, a recall, if you will. I remember being ill when I was in kindergarten. I mean, to the point to where I couldn't attend school. I don't know what illness that was, but it kept me out of school for quite a long time. And so that was another recall moments, and it really, it's that information started trickling in little by little. But in watching your podcast, I started putting these things together, because I used to ask, well, why? And I know that those were activating moments. They active, it just a recall for you to recall who you are outside of this everyday existence. So I would say yes, your podcast helped me immensely uh, to put together all of those moments. Like they call them aha moments. So
All right.
quite profound.
Before I go here, I'm going to ask you
Okay.
the question of the night, and that is, do you think that you planned this NDE pre-birth?
Oh my gosh. Oh, y- you know, I would have never received that piece of knowledge, and not only received it but owned it. But I can honestly say yes and own that, because actually had an experience while I was about 18 years old, fast forward from all of that, like 10 years from that, near death experience. And this experience was outside of myself, where I, now, like I said, my parents were agnostic, they had their own beliefs, and I had an experience with Jesus. It would have, and for me, I mean, I was all about like conventional, fundamental understandings of who God was, and maybe Mary, yeah, she, but Jesus, you know, I had an experience outside of myself with Jesus, and in that discussion, because I know I was kind of at a crossroads. And so, to answer that question, I'm getting to it. The reason why I can say, wholeheartedly, that yes, uh, uh, I'm just recalling that he reminded me of an agreement that I had made. And I never, now this was back in the 80s. I had never read anything about agreements. I didn't know about, we choose, we have blueprints, life blueprints. I didn't know any of that. But I specifically remember during that time of my life that I was taking a couple of law courses. I wanted to be paralegal. I was a paralegal's assistant, but I wasn't certificated. So I was taking a couple of courses. So I knew what agreements were. I knew what agreements were. I know what, trust, wills, and probate. I had the terminology was very strong in me for, in the legal field. And so I knew what an agreement was. And oh my God, I had an agreement? What did I agree to? Here I am, going to a couple of in a couple of law classes, for this course. And I knew it was agreements are important, and you make an agreement, it's an agreement. And so, yes, you, that was when I had the understanding what, how we plan our lives and how we make agreements. And I hadn't heard of that. I mean, your podcast and having different people come on, it really helped to understand just how deep uh our spirituality and how far back it goes.
Hmm.
I
Well,
hope I answered that
you
question. I mean,
did.
it's
I know it took you a while to get there, but you did.
right.
And I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. So I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate
You're
that. I
welcome.
appreciate you, Dee. And this would be like a perfect thing for me to just cut this little piece out and put it on my
Okay.
NDE clips, or put it here, because I think that, I hope more people will come back and find this one.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I appreciate being on here, and I'm sorry, I feel, I know I'm very nervous,
You don't appear
and
nervous to me.
I didn't want to be hodgepodge all over the place, because
No.
there's just a whole lot. But I did want to answer that question with the why I believe what I believe and what I know, what I know, and in regards to your question.
Well,
So,
Dee, you did a great job,
yeah,
and we appreciate you.
thank
And
you.
thank you, and have a great rest of your evening.
I appreciate that. I will.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye now.
And that is a guest. He just popped it on. Well, Well, Leslie King's, my wife just told me real quick, and I'm trying to fix this real quick. Leslie King's, I believe what he was trying to say is that he has a YouTube channel. And if you just search his name on YouTube, then you should be able to find his YouTube channel. And I'm assuming he's playing music there. And if he's still here, Leslie could probably maybe confirm that in the chat. All right, Tina Bigfoot Thomas is up next. Now, Tina has had contact with,
Yes.
There's Tina. Oh, Tina, are you here?
I'm here.
All right, who do you got with you today?
Where's Little Paw?
That's Little Paw?
Little Paw.
Little Paw, well, he's cute.
He's adorable.
So have you had any new Bigfoot sightings lately?
I have had an experience.
What happened?
Okay. So it all started when my daughter started a new job at a big box department store.
Mm-hmm.
And she works the graveyard shift. And they have her up in this attic area that's like a storage area for all of their online orders. So she's up there by herself, and something very loud hit the ground and scared the crap out of her. And she looked all over to find what it was, and there was nothing there. And then later that night, she said this one of those big bags of bedding got launched, like just all by itself, got launched across the storage room, and just terrified her. So she went downstairs. She didn't want to be up there anymore, and she said something to management, and they all started looking at each other and smiling, and like they all know there's a poltergeist.
I was gonna
and
say,
a haunting up in there.
Sounds like a ghost up there.
Right. So right next to this department store, on the side of it is a cemetery. And on the other side of that cemetery are the woods where I met my Sasquatch, Sonny Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was planning on going bike riding, mountain biking in that area again. This was just a few days ago. And before I went, someone suggested that I watch this YouTube video. And in this video, they had several different cases of people who experienced Sasquatch sightings, UFO sightings, and paranormal activity all in the same area. And I thought, well, maybe that's what's going on here, because it's in such it's in less than a mile of each other, such close proximity. So when I went to the woods that day, I had that question in my mind and that intention of getting an answer. And so I was just riding my bike, and I see this really cool tree. And it's old and it's huge. And in the center of it, there's this eye that's just like formed in there. And so I get off my bike to take a picture of it, and something enormous, like 300-400 pounds, dropped from up above and thudded very nearby, because I felt it in my feet, hit the ground. And I knew it was a Sasquatch. You've heard a tree limb breaking and falling, that sound. This wasn't that. This was something solid.
Are you saying that the Sasquatch stomped on the ground or threw something to get your attention?
I think that he jumped out of a tree. Yeah.
Did you hear the sound? Like if you drop something in the grass or the dirt, you kind of hear the contact of the dirt and the grass. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did it scare
and
you?
I mean, yeah, I was very startled. I was not expecting that. And I knew that was my answer. yes, it is connected. And I didn't see a UFO in that area, but these Sasquatch people who have contacted me have brought UFO activity, extraterrestrial activity with them, so they're very connected to that. So I'm not sure what's going on in that storage room.
Yeah, because
but that is
you've come on many times and talked about Bigfoot, but I've never heard you mention UFO activity up there.
Yeah, no, there's never been any UFO activity there, but there was UFO activity at my house. Yeah. So a few months ago, I had a traumatic experience with someone, and I was upset, and I went outside. And when I went outside, my mind got totally taken off that by the formation of this strange looking cloud. It looked like a spacecraft. It looked like a UFO, and it filled with thunder. And close to it was this tiny little tic tac thing. And sometimes it would fly way across the parking lot from me, and sometimes it would fly really close to me, but it was always the same size. It was really bizarre. And I started taking pictures of this cloud, and this little tic tac thing was showing up in there. And then I started shooting video of it. And at some point in the video, that little TikTok, you can see it just shoot off across the screen and take off.
Yeah, I think didn't you show that on your Facebook one time?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah. And so right after that happened, I think it was like the next day, it was like the middle of the day, and I just got really overcome with tiredness, like very sleepy, all of a sudden very sleepy. And I just had to go lay down like right then. And I laid down, and as soon as I went to sleep, I was aboard a craft. And I knew it was that craft that had been in that cloud. I knew that was a craft. I was like, I knew it. And aboard that craft, there was a Sasquatch person. And I hadn't seen him before. I didn't know who he was. And there was an extraterrestrial that looks like your typical little gray alien, except he was not gray. He was full of light. Mm-hmm. And his eyes weren't like cold and dark. They were full of love for me. And I knew that he was like, I knew he was my dad. And like, my dad passed away in 2009. And I had a really hard time accepting this after that happened. I'm like, my dad's this little alien? Like, how does that work? Because it's hard to imagine your loved one in a different form. Mm-hmm. But I knew he was like, that was my dad. And he was playing with me as if I was his infant. He was like pushing on my ribs and rolling me back and forth on this little bed that I was on. And I was just, how you can make a little baby laugh over and over again. And that's how I was. I was just laughing. I was laughing so hard, but it was so healing, and just a beautiful experience. I didn't feel abducted. I didn't feel frightened or anything.
So what do you think the connection is between aliens and Bigfoot? Do you think aliens are, teleporting the Bigfoot down onto the earth, or do you think Bigfoot are also a different type of alien?
I don't know that I even think that they're aliens. I think that there are many different nature spirits and things that are created out of the earth that are here. And just like, I don't know what you to call this, the powers that be, the capitalism, the colonialist or whatever, that seem to go everywhere and conquer everywhere and wipe out all the indigenous peoples. I think that they wiped out the fairies. I think they wiped out everything else that's natural and indigenous to this planet. And those who survived are in hiding. So I wouldn't be surprised if these little 3-foot tall things with the 3 fingers, my dad had 3 fingers, and the big eyes, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in time they existed here and we all lived together on the earth with the Sasquatch people and the fairies and the unicorns and the mer people. You know what I mean? I think at some point we were all living here together in harmony, and then something came and broke that up, you know, and has systematically wiped everything out until now. Here we are. We don't even believe that, you know, most mainstream people don't even believe that fairies exist or that there's Sasquatch people or any of this other stuff, because that's part of the mind control and the brainwashing we've been experiencing for generations, disconnecting us from our true divinity and our true power and our true creation.
Well, Tina, thank you for coming and sharing with us this evening. I've got to run.
Yep, it's getting late.
I've got overtime, and I still have the thing. I need to, well, I got to let you go. And, but thank you again. And hello.
Bye.
Hello.
My granddaughter.
Hello. And she's beautiful. Thank you
Yes,
thank you so much for coming and sharing with us tonight. And don't be a stranger.
Okay, love y'all. Have a good night.
I love you too. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So we didn't do the remote viewing object. I have it in my hands here. My wife reminded me that I have that here. So we can do that now before we have Mr. Cake come on. And if you want to, there is a color and a shape maybe that can get you halfway there. And there's a couple super thanks that I need to thank people for the nice gestures of generosity. I don't know if I can get to it. Maybe. Yeah. But I think one of them was Leslie King. So Leslie, thank you so much for that super thanks. I appreciate it. And there was a couple more. Can't see that. Okay, let me see if I can go through mine. Because it was there for a long time. And there's Leslie. And I thought there was one more at least. Is there? Maybe not. Maybe it was just Leslie's then. If somebody gave us a super thanks, I apologize if I missed it, but I'm grateful for it and thank you. All right, so let me see if anybody said anything. All right, so I am here, and some people have said a paper clip, a gold. Probably should mention the green laser. You get a visit. Yes. Purple cake time. Brown raccoon tail. That's an interesting one. I missed it. Pomegranate. Has Leonard been on? Leonard, I don't think has been on. Red coffee cup. Something green, something blue. One was mine. Oh, Gracie Girl. Thank you. If that was from you, Gracie Girl, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. And nobody else. Blue, and I see butterflies and anything else. So a lemon, no. Well, that would probably be a pretty good one. A flower, no. I'm just circular. Somebody said circular? Okay, that's the closest. That's the closest you've got. Tomahawk, no. Circular, yes. So this is it. And it's not a Ford Thunderbird. It is this black hair. I don't know if you call it a scrunchie, but it's Mara's hair clip thing. It was black and circular. So you said brown and circular, you were close. And that's it. That was today's remote viewing object. All right. Stephen is here, and Stephen has never missed a podcast since its inception, and he has still made it here. So we will check in with Mr. Cake and see what he is up to. He has been our most dedicated.
Well, hello, darling. How are you?
How
Haven't
is
seen
it?
you in a while.
I've been on indoor.
Life on indoor is very difficult, darling. You won't want to go there without at least 1 or 2 lightsabers.
So how have you been, brother?
It's very difficult. It's like there's different parts, so it's like what I'm going through is very difficult, like all my problems. But then I got God that's so wonderful.
Yes.
And there, like I mentioned, it's almost like I'm in like the 40 days. Jesus had 40 days in the desert, and you had that. You're talking about on one shoulder, you get the angel on the other. The demon just wants what you want, so you got to line it up with what God wants, because it'll help you. Like it's got this draining energy thing. If I'm not doing loving acts, so I have to say like I bless this show and I bless the audience, and I think you're all great, and because that's what God wants. He wants everyone to feel loved, and the way they can come across different ways to us, and they say like, why do some people believe in this or that or that? It's like because they love people so much that they'll just come through on however is going to make the most sense to you. So for me, we got Mary, she likes things simple, and the Father who's the grand designer. That's how they come through to me. But before I would just pray to Jesus. I just said, Lord, help me, Jesus, help me. Like that's fine. But it's a different world when you get put into I call it like the God slot. It's like your world radically changes. It's like when you read the Bible or you read any text, like you see it totally different now. Because it's like, and I use the perspective thing. It's like the higher up we go, the better viewpoint we have on the world and what's going on. So as I say, we've all got parts of the puzzle to what's going on, but
It's interesting when you refer to God as the grand designer, because that kind of reminds me of the Masons.
yeah. So that's how they revealed themselves to me is the grand designer means like no one can. They told me about let's say the holes, the little, you know what I mean, like there's no, like let's just relate it to a movie. There's no movie that's perfect. You could pick it apart, just like our world, but it like people are not noticing any problems, and it seems to, and it's like, who cares? It just, if it works, right? It's like I've always wondered, like I remember I mentioned this on the show. It's like, where do fruit flies come from? Can life spontaneously generate? Because people talk about it all the time. Or it's like you get a little injury, it's like it just heals. It's like, how is that happening? Is it all intuitive? It's part of the creation that they just know what needs to be done.
Now, you mentioned that you feel like the devil's on one side and God or an angel's on the other side, and you said that the devil just gives you what you want. Do you feel like the devil is giving you,
Yeah,
is
it just wants
tempting
what
you
you
more
want.
often than God giving you or showing you the way?
Yeah, so I like so I like comedy and I like absurdity. So they would give me absurd comedy. So like I would watch the Shawshank Redemption and they would turn it into a comedy, or PGA golf. And and at first they were like, it's like I'm in a process of working through things. So at first they would make fun of like God and they'd make fun of other things. And then at a certain point, they're like, we'll make fun of you. Like you're the chink in God's armor. Like it's funny for me.
So are you back in communication with Mary and God now? Because I remember you had that 40 days where you weren't.
I'm still in the training mode. Like what they got is like this. I don't know how you call it, but they say either do something loving, like bless, do something productive, or rest. Otherwise, they start draining energy.
Are you still going around and blessing people, or have you still been to that? Are you still going to the Christmas place?
Yeah, I was there last night. Yeah. I go around it, yeah, and I just said Merry Christmas to as many people as I could.
That's cool.
They're doing stuff here. So.
Oh, I can hear some background chatter, but
but I
that's
got a little
okay.
sick, a little frog in my throat.
Now, have you worked on your Austin Powers for us?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Of course, baby. We're working on it. We're working on things all the time, man. You know, we're doing the best we can over here, man. You know?
Well, if you guys want to see more of Steven's comedy, his juggling, his dancing, he does have a YouTube channel. I believe it's called just Steven Cake, right?
Yeah, I haven't put anything up lately, but I've been working on my juggling tricks because God, what they did is they took my gifts, or they just made everything come naturally and smooth. So like before I was a deficient human being, and it means it took a lot of energy for me to do things. You know, I couldn't just go running everywhere I wanted to, but now they give me some new legs, so I just run wherever I want to run.
Do you think that you can do your juggling so well that it's like second nature and you don't even have to think about it, and then you could do comedy while you're juggling?
Yeah, that's how it is. It's like it comes so easily and naturally now.
Like you could be juggling and have Donald Trump teaching people how to juggle while you're juggling.
Let me tell you something, folks. We love juggling. We love it. We love it. We're going to create a juggling podcast with the JeffMara. Well, everyone's going to learn how to juggle. We are going to be doing it, folks. It's wonderful.
Like you could say, folks, you take one ball and you throw it in the air, and then you catch it with this hand and throw another
take
ball.
one ball, you throw it in the air, you know, you just catch them and you throw them around, you know. That's what we're doing over here.
It sounds like the hokey pokey.
Yeah, people ask, I say it's like an ice sculpture. It's like, how do you learn how to do it? It's like you just keep working at it day after day. Just keep working, and eventually you get to something good. So that's what I've been doing. I just dedicate myself to improving and getting better and learning, and then over time I just get better and better. But they made it easy. They made it easy, folks.
What is the latest on you possibly moving back in with your family?
Yeah, it's I don't know. God told me they're working on getting me a support system, because I have to have a support system, and I got to get to a good dentist, and so they're working on it. I think right now they just want me to work my own. And figure out what this is what I'm able to do. I'm able to look at what I believe, what I like, and what I want. So there's this kinesiology method, and so normally you can get answers from God. You ask God, is this correct? Is this? But I'm not allowed to do that. I'm only allowed to look at this and see what's going on here.
How did you feel about about yesterday's podcast on demons? Because I know you talk about demons from time to time.
Yeah. So like I said, I guess there's different things going on. There's what's internal, people choosing to go with the demon, and then there's the spirit phenomenon. I think that spirits are helping us all the time. I mean, I told you, like, I can let them move my hand. Like, I can just like say, hi, how are you? It's a spirit moving my hand there. So I can let them move me if I want. If I just stand still, they'll just start doing it.
Oh, that's new. That's not Monique. That's new spirits.
I don't think it's ever been one spirit. I think it's like we all have spirits that help us move, talk. I think, because I asked about how do gifts work, and they said we're not getting into it, but that's what I think is going on. There's more, because you ever hear that, like, it's like, what is it? Someone gets in an injury or something, and then like all of a sudden they're really good at something. Like, that doesn't make any sense under a natural worldview, but on a supernatural, they got some kind of gift that allows them to just draw really good or whatever it is. They could just do it really good all of a sudden, or math or puzzles. Like I'm way better at puzzles now.
That seems like also with the NDEs, a lot of people get some kind of new ability afterwards.
Yeah, they come back and they're given gifts, and that's what God wants to do. Their end game is peace and enlightenment. That's their game. The end game. It's either goes down towards destruction. So they related it to me. It's like if you're in the 8th inning in a baseball game, you could say the game's almost over, but it could go into 21 innings, 30. They said it could go on for millions of years, but it's event based. So they want everyone to spread the love so we can get to peace, get to enlightenment, and then we'll get the greater miracles that Jesus talked about. That's when we get it. Once we get the love and the peace here.
Sometimes we talk about the ascension on the channel. What do you think of that?
I didn't ask about that. I just it's just I have a higher perspective. So like it makes sense like when I look at what happened in, let's say, the Bible to these holy people. So like you have to be tested. So it's like God's not going to have you do bad stuff. But if you tell God, I'll do whatever you say, they'll say, really? Will you do this? Will you do that? See, they have to test you. They're not going to have you do bad stuff, but they have to, like they had to teach me lessons like that this is God's world. And that like, hey, I should feel comfortable just walking into a private event. So I walked into a private event, private party. And it's funny. They're like, let's get the person who's running it. I go, don't do that because they'll just tell me to leave. I'm just here to bless people and tell them, have a great day. God bless you. Make them feel loved.
Well, Stephen, I've got to, it's time. I've got to do what I've got to do.
Got to do what you got to do, man. Me and Joan, we're writing songs here, man. But I love you all, and I love you, Jeff, and thanks for doing this, and God bless everyone.
Thank you. I
just
love
keep
you.
praying. We'll get it.
God bless you.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right. Before we get going here, I want to say thank you to 2 more people who were very kind to us. Lisa Myers, thank you for that generous super thanks. And she says, Merry Christmas, Jesus loves you. So thank you again, Lisa. And Tristan Early, 1111, love and light for all. Those are the angel numbers. So Tristan, thank you again for that. Thank you. And I really appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, it's been a long podcast. We did well. We went way over time tonight, 9:30. So, as you guys know, I just keep on going until the end. And that's it, I guess. So thank you all so much for coming tonight and joining us, as well as thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate you guys. And we're thankful. So on that note, have a great rest of your weekend.